Well, it is May. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Ben the Coin Geek, talking about things he doesn't know anything about. And today we're going to talk about CACG. Now, for those of you who don't know what CACG is, you're not the only one because the acronym is relatively freshly minted here. And of course, CAC is the company that puts the sticker on PCGS and NGC coins that have already been certified, and they're starting their own grading company, CAC Grading, CACG. Now, I'm not one for good acronyms. Everyone just does what they do, but I think if they were able to start fresh, maybe it could have been something different. But that's the least of our worries, right? The idea here is to talk about what's really happening now, as they have set a launch date in June, so a month out, and right now, they are currently running what they would call a soft launch, which is what they're doing is for people who have already agreed to support the company. In other words, for those of you who don't know, when they decided to do this, they announced all these things. So I'm not saying anything that isn't known. They announced that, hey, there's somewhat like 100 partners involved in this. And by partners, they don't necessarily mean people giving money, right? So for example, there are many dealers who are able to get coins graded early in this process. Now, you already know this, but I didn't make the list. Nobody called me. It's okay. I'm going to be all right. I'll cry myself to sleep at night. So, but the fun part is currently, as we're speaking, people are sending in coins, and they are running through the process of saying, you know, how do our processes work? How is our receiving department working? How is the grading is like the thing that's the least of their worries right now, right? Because they have graders in place that can grade. That's not what we're worried about right now, right? So, but how does the process go with receiving, and then how does it go with shipping, and how are the people packaging? By the way, I have still only seen computer generated images of the holders. All the images I've seen have been computer generated, which I don't like. I don't like computer-generated things in general. I like reality. As much as I hate to admit it, I like reality. So we'll see what happens here. Now, this is kind of a big deal. So you have a third-party grading service coming into place that is not owned by a major corporation, which is what has happened to both NGC and PCGS over the last 3 years or so. And they're coming in here, and I think they're going to make a little bit of a splash. Now, having said that, you know, I don't know that it's going to make a big deal for a lot of you, because when we asked our audience, it was only like 15 or 16% of you who said, oh yeah, I'm going to go straight to CACG. Well, here's one of the reasons why. Because PCGS has really managed to put down deep roots, especially with the registry set game. I'm going to use the term game here, right? They've gamified it. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm just talking about that's how it works. Because when I meet people at coin shows or people who come into the coin shop and we talk about coin collecting, lots of guys their very specific collecting goals are at a minimum inspired by the registry set, if not, of course, dictated by the registry set. It tells them how many points things are worth and you know what they can get for it. So, of course, one of the things that CACG has set up front is we're going to have register sets, because I think that they kind of have to be able to play ball. What I find interesting is, and we'll see where this goes. Now I'm going completely theoretical on this. If the right people in the marketplace decide to take the right coins in the marketplace and get them in CACG holders, I think that will cause a domino or ripple effect. In other words, if people start taking some of the finest coins known and putting them in the CACG holders, I think what there are people in the marketplace that will be saying is, here you go, we're done with grading party X or Y. We are going to go do this instead. And this is, to me, a fascinating concept to see if that could really happen. But for the average collector out there, for guys who are collecting, you know, $50 to $250 coins, I don't think they care about CACG. I don't think they care about CAC all that much. There is a very specific market where people are looking for the green beans or the gold beans on stuff. It's its own little sub market, right? But as far as like getting your actual coins graded to CACG, I don't think you're going to see a big push from the average collector who's using PCGS or NGC membership levels and sending off, 10 or 20 coins a year. I don't think those people are going to be the same people sending coins into CACG. But I do think that you're going to see a lot of guys. This is my two-way. The reason I'm putting this all together right now is, I say I'm just spitballing, is because when I think about the fact that they've said, well, we've got, 100 or 100, whatever the number was, people who are basically in our system. I don't know who those guys are, not exactly, right? I can speculate, and I'm not going to. That's not the point. When you look at it, though, you've got to imagine that that's a lot of people that know John Albanese and John Albanese knows. And so to me, that is old school, what we call it, numismatic royalty. What are we going to call this, right? But it's people who are, I think, probably both well-connected and well-heeled in outside of the corporate world. And I keep using that term because corporations act differently than individuals do. And so when people are interested in the numismatic industry or hobby and in its well-being, they've got a very different agenda, most likely, than a corporation does, which the corporations don't have agendas in products, they have agendas in profits. And not that profit's bad, but when they go looking to make a profit and then try to manipulate things, you end up with products that are very sus, as the kids would say. I like saying that, then my kids all get mad at me. They roll their eyes. So it's a very suspect kind of way of doing things. On the other hand, if you have a product that people love, you will profit from it, right? It's the same ingredients, those two things, but the spirit's different and the order is very different. And I think in the long run, CACG is going to do a nice job. I'm looking forward to sending some coins in and just finding out what exactly they've got going on and what the holders are going to look like. In this article from the magazine here, John Feigenbaum of the CDN of the Gray Sheet, notes that he got to go see the tour of their 30,000 square foot facility. And something he said in there that really struck with me is like, well, this everything goes from theory and then you get to see it physically. And you're like, oh, this is where the rubber hits the road. This is real, and this is how this is all coming together. And so when you and I think about CACG coming together, lots of times we think about computer-made images of holders, right? So, but the reality is these guys had to get together a 30,000 square foot facility, get the equipment, put the systems in place. You've got to be able to not only have your custom plastics made, your papers made, your technology made, and that's all got to come together. And so there's a lot there. And the people who think that people go into this just because they want to make money, I think from talking with some of the people here at CAC, I think it's like a lot of people in small business, which is to say, they're going to make money because otherwise they close shop. But the point is they're mission minded. My sentiment from listening to them, my thought from listening to them is that they are mission minded, because that's a whole lot of work to go to. Because if they just wanted to make money, you know what? $35 to put a sticker on a coin that's already slabbed, that's a whole lot of better rate of return than putting together entire plastic things with technology and all the equipment that goes into that. So if it was just about money, you stick with the sticker, right? I think that we'll see. Can I withhold my answer of what I think? That wouldn't be like me very much. But I think that it's definitely going to be interesting to see how the larger coin community reacts. And just remember that there are so many subcategories of the collector market. It's a very large ecosystem. And the CACG market is going to be probably in a very specific area of the market to start off with. But we'll see, because when those green beans came out 12 or 15 years ago, um, it seemed silly to me, and so I still look at it as something that's a very interesting part of the market that I never would have thought would be used the way it is today. But over the last few years, it seems like they were overnight success after a decade of work, right? And that's what you see when you put together a decade of hard work. All of a sudden, you're an overnight success. That's how I view CAC, the sticker company. Now we're going to see what CACG can do in the marketplace. So I look forward to seeing your comments and thoughts on the CACG process, but also whether you're going to use them or not. But I'm also just looking forward to see what the holders actually look like in person. That's going to be exciting. I want to get a sample. I'll send in coins for samples. I gotta talk to somebody. Hey, get somebody important on the phone for me, would you? Silence. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. I've been the Coin Geek. You can subscribe by clicking on the owl button in the corner and watch more videos on the right side of the screen. Thanks.